If you've ever wondered how they put French doors into an existing brick wall, well, I'm going to take you through the process of how I did it. This is the first time I've ever done it. Had a bit of a hand doing it, but let's get into this and see how it turns out in the end. So obviously you got to start out with your measurements. So I drew it all up. It was a lot easier for me to calculate. You can see I've put each timber in there, and then I've put the frame as well. And then I've added each of those together. So your framing is 18 mil, timbers are 35. So you can see I've added all that up. I've added the gaps. I have talked to a few people just to make sure this is correct. And then I took into consideration the doors and also the gaps between the doors. Added it all up and we came to 36.55. Now it's time to measure up. I've got the solar level from ProMac. I've already marked it on the ground, the 36.55, and I'm just making sure that that line is plumb, just using a Nico and getting ready for that first cut. We're using the Hilti DCH 300 saw. I love this thing. It works really well on walls. It's a little bit difficult when it gets overhead or above your shoulders, as I am at the moment. One of the big benefits of this saw is that it doesn't require water, so you don't have that big mess that you got to clean up at the end. The dust extraction is extremely good on this. As you can see, you can't see much dust coming out. I did hire it from Kennard's Hire, which also hire out the vacuum. Once we're all cut, here comes the fun part.
All right, this is where we're up to. Good day yesterday. Obviously got rid of the wall. This is what we're looking at. Pretty big opening. 2 double doors, 2 there, and then 2 there. A little bit of a pillar in the middle. The main problem I've had is with the actual door jamb and the sill. I wanted it to come up to the front here so that we could open all the way and then have a architrave around here, a large one, but that's not gonna work because of the gap. We would have to get a custom made door jamb, which is going to be about 260 mil. So what we've gone with is a 160. So this is it here. Brendan yesterday put it all together. Didn't want to stuff this one up. This one's a pretty big one, so I got him out to pretty much put this together, help out with the measurements just to make sure everything's all good. And he also said to recess that out, which we've done, just so that the sill, which is the bottom plate, will sit a little bit more flush. Well, not flush with the inside, but just a little bit of a lip, not your 25 mil. So today's pretty much going to be framing the outside. I've got to fix up where I've cut. I cut that originally because the engineer said we had to have an LVL through there because it's so long and at the end of the house, but I didn't take into consideration this beam and how close it is to the edge of the house. And I talked to him, he said I don't need that LVL, so I did cut that, but we'll have to put that back together, reframe that, and then hopefully put the door jambs in, and we might put the doors up, I don't know yet, so we'll see how far we get. So this is the almost finished product. Don't mind the paint, obviously, that's all plastic, it's got to get pulled off. We did the front, and this is how it turned out. Got to put a couple more of those in, but as you can see, it came out pretty clean. I'm quite happy. Hopefully the French doors turn out exactly the same. As you can see, we went for larger hinges, and what that allows us to do is just clear it, and that can go all the way back. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. These are the handles and locks that we went with.
Brendan did a really good job with those. They were a little bit difficult to install, but he got it done and we're extremely happy with it. It's a lot better than the iconic handles that I put in the laundry. They were cheap, nasty, but these turned out extremely nice. Then we've got the sill. This was one of the things I was sort of worried about. Obviously, we've got a bit of a gap there. In the long run, I don't think it's going to be too bad. Once it is all rendered, the renderer is actually coming through now. He's all prepped, ready to go. He started with the front. That'll be another video, but he should come in and pretty much bring it all flush, seal all that, and you won't even really notice it. All blueboard is installed around the framing. This is how it turned out inside. Extremely happy. We made a few decisions along the way with how to finish this. As you can see, that's how the door jamb finished. So it comes out, comes back in, and then we've got the architrave going around. Then we brought this down roughly 20 mil, I think, or 16 mil. It's a bit of MDF. I brought it down so that the beam, which is right here, was flush with the top of the jamb, and as you can see, it's come out perfect. One big bulkhead rather than the gyprock coming down, would have come in a bit and then down again. I really didn't want that. Here's the door sill, a nice little lip on it. Nothing too extravagant, but just enough to weatherproof it. This one's not painted. We still haven't finished the painting. So realistically, last for here is the render. I've got to put a piece of timber on those parts in the middle and just finish off the paint.